Exciting new plan to tackle climate emergency worldwide, revealed by Stanford researchers. Things are pretty dire right now. Giant swaths of my country are burning as I write this at a scale unlike anything we've ever seen. Countless animals, including koalas, are perishing along with our life-supporting greenery. People are losing homes and loved ones. This is by Tessa Koumoundouros on Science Alert. These catastrophes are being replicated around the globe even more frequently, and we know exactly what is exacerbating them. We know we need to rapidly make some drastic changes, and Stanford researchers have come up with a plan. Using the latest data available, they've outlined how 143 countries around the world can switch to 100% clean energy by the year 2050. This plan could not only contribute towards stabilizing our dangerously increasing global temperatures, but also reduce the 7 million deaths caused by pollution every year and create million more jobs than keeping our current systems. The plan would require a hefty investment of around 73 trillion US dollars. But the researchers' calculations show the jobs and savings it would earn would pay this back in as little as only 7 years. Quote, based on previous calculations we have performed, we believe this will avoid a 1.5 degree global warming, end quote. Environmental engineer, lead author Mark Jacobson told Science Alert. The timeline is more aggressive than any IPCC scenario. We concluded in 2009 that 100% transition by 2030 was technically and economically possible, but for social and political reasons, a 2050 date is more practical. And here's how it would work. The plan involves transitioning all our energy sectors, including electricity, transport, industry, agriculture, fishing, forestry, and the military, to work entirely with renewable energy. Jacobson believes we have a 95% of the technology we need already, with only solutions for long distance and ocean travel still to be commercialized. Quote, by electrifying everything with clean, renewable energy, we reduce power demand by about 57%, Jacobson explained. He and colleagues show it is possible to meet demand and maintain stable electricity grids using only wind, water, solar, and storage across all 143 countries. These technologies are already available, reliable, and respond much faster than natural gas, so they are already cheaper. There's also no need for nuclear, which takes 10 to 19 years between planning and operations, biofuels that cause more air pollution, or the invention of new technologies. Jacobson says clean coal just does not exist and never will, because the technology does not work and only increases mining and emissions of air pollutants while reducing little carbon, and there is no guarantee at all the carbon that is captured will stay captured. The team found an electrifying all energy sector, making the demand for energy more flexible, and the combination of renewable energy and storage is better suited to meet this flexibility than our current system. This plan creates 28.6 million more full-time jobs in the long term than business as usual, and only needs approximately 0.17% and approximately 0.48% land for new footprint and distance respectively, the researchers write in their report. Building the infrastructure necessary for this transition would of course create CO2 emissions. The researchers calculate that the necessary steel and concrete would require about 0.914% of current CO2 emissions, but switching to renewables to produce the concrete would reduce this. With plans this big, there are plenty of uncertainties and some inconsistencies between databases. The team takes these into account by modeling several scenarios with different levels of cost and climate damage. Jacobson said, you're probably not going to predict exactly what's going to happen, but there are many solutions and many scenarios that could work. Technically, technology writer Michael Bernard believes that the study's estimates are quite conservative, skewing towards the more expensive technologies and scenarios. He says, storage is a solved problem. And he writes for Clean Technica. He says, even the most expensive and conservative projections as used by Jacobson are much, much cheaper than business as usual, and there are many more solutions in play. The authors of the report stress that while implementing such energy transitions, it's also crucial that we simultaneously tackle emissions coming from other sources like fertilizers and deforestation. This proposal could earn pushbacks from industries and politicians that have the most to lose, especially those with a track record of throwing massive resources at delaying our progress towards a more sustainable future. Criticisms of the team's previous work have already been linked back to these exact groups, but the cost of transitioning have dropped so low, transitions are occurring even in places without policies, Jacobs said. For example, in the US, 9 out of the 10 states with the most wind power installed are Republican voting states with few or no policies promoting wind power. Over 60 countries have already passed laws to transition to 100% renewable electricity by between 2020 and 2050. This guide can give them and other countries an example of how this can practically be done. And Jacobs explained to Bloomberg there's really no downside to making this transition. Most people are afraid it will be too expensive. Hopefully this will always allay some of those fears. At least 11 independent research groups agree this type of transition is possible, including energy researchers Mark Deisendorf and Ben Ellison from University of New South Wales, Australia. They reviewed major criticisms of 100% renewable energy transition plans and concluded the principal barriers to 100% renewable electricity systems are neither technological nor economic, but instead are primarily political, institutional, and cultural. So multiple lines of evidence insist we have the technology, resources, and knowledge to make this possible. The only question is, can enough of us put aside our fears and ideologies to make it happen? Jacobson said the biggest risk is that the plans are not implemented quickly enough. I hope people will take these plans to their policymakers in their country to help solve these problems. The report was published in the journal One Earth, and more details of individual countries can be found in the link here. And this is on Science Alert. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.